Welcome to Your Business, Your Life with Matt DeFrancesco, your personal financial technician. Whether you've had years of success in your business or just starting out, Highlift Financial can help you create a vision for your business, life, and family, and align these for generational wealth. So as they say, what happens in your life affects your business. And now, on to the show.
Well, welcome everybody to this episode of Why We Plan. My name's John Brown. I'm the founder of BEI, and with me today is a brand new member of BEI. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, John. Well, Matt DeFrancesco, and I'm from a town called Johnstown, Pennsylvania, which is about 60 miles east of Pittsburgh. So I'm a financial advisor. I specialize, and my niche is with collision shop owners, small to mid-sized family-owned collision shops.
Something, unfortunately, we all need at some point, right?
Exactly. And I mean, it's a long story on how I got involved in that niche. I started working with family businesses, then developed kind of a core group of these collision shop guys, and then learned their business, and decided to go kind of full on with them.
So what interested you in exit planning?
Well, I mean, I've been working with family businesses for the last 17 years.
Okay, yeah.
And a lot of it was, I got really involved. When I first got into the business, I didn't have access to any money, and I learned 401k plans and muni bonds. So that's what I did. I was cold calling businesses and selling 401k plans to them. And then I developed relationships with these business owners. They became personal clients, and then I started learning about the intricacies of the business and learning that at some point they wanted to transition the business, whether it was to family members, to key employees. So I was kind of like, I was doing a lot of reading and kind of putting together my own little system to do it, but it wasn't always as effective as it needed to be. And so a lot of times we kind of get stuck and we'd start spinning our wheels in the process. So I had a peer of mine, I'm part of a mastermind group, who had been to one of the boot camps before, and she says, this fits into your niche perfectly. So I did the boot camp, and what I really liked about it was that BEI has a process. And it's now made it much easier when I'm going back to my clients to say, look, we have steps that we're going to follow, and there's a process, and I can lead them in a much more effective way.
So do you have exit planning clients now? Because, I mean, you're just now a BEI member.
Right. Yeah, I'm actually I'm just finishing up the advanced training, and we'll be getting my certification here in the next couple months. But I'm already working the process now with some existing clients, and I've actually I've got a brand new referral that came in who is specifically we're looking at exit planning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good. Well, tell us about the exit plan you're working on now.
Well, the first one was it's a client. It's a long-time client. He actually owns a propane business, and he's second generation. Has a son that was in the business and a daughter that wasn't, and so he had some health challenges coming out of this was 2019 around the holiday season. Mm-hmm. So he now all of a sudden becoming aware that I need to start planning. So we were conducting some family meetings. We were making some progress. And then things kind of got bogged down. And we got away from it. And the kids were bugging me about, hey, we need to reestablish these family meetings. And I'm going after the client. And the client's like, I'm too busy right now to do this. I think a lot of it was there was the reality that he may have to give up control. It created some fear in him.
Absolutely.
Right. So now, since I've been doing the training, I went back to him, and actually I'm scheduled to meet with him next Monday. And I actually went to him and I said, look, I want to get together with you and your wife because I made a mistake. I said, we started this process, but I didn't have a system to follow. I said, I now have a system. And I think, we need to start with deeper discussions about what you guys want, what you fear, and start establishing some goals. And they were actually like, well, should we bring the kids in? I said, I don't want to do that at this point. I said, I need to know what you guys want first. And that's that first step of the exit planning process.
Yeah. And so that's something I think advisors often aren't aware of, that
right.
Your client in exit planning are the business owners.
Yeah.
It's not the kids. It's not the key employee.
Right.
And so now you have a focus.
Yes, exactly. And I think once we identify what they want and address the fears that they want, they're going to be much more comfortable with starting to move forward in the process. So, they're already clients of mine, so I kind of know where their personal situation is. I've got a general idea of like where the value of the business is, but I think just knowing the family history, he's not sure. His dad worked in the business till he died. Okay. And I don't know that my client wants that, nor do I think the kids want that.
Sure, the kids do not want it.
That's exactly right. So, and we're kind of playing off of also just talking to him about how he felt when his dad was in there, kind of looking, Jeff was president, but dad was kind of looking over his shoulder all the time, and how that made him feel, and how would that make his kids feel, and how would he feel if his kids felt that way.
So when you have your meeting on Monday,
yes,
are you going to use any of the tools that you've learned to use? So tell me, what does that look like? You're going to do an assessment?
Yes. Yeah. So what my plan is to use the exit planning workbook. So we're going to take some time and go through the whole workbook, not just the brochure, because I want to do a deeper dive. I could pretty much answer the questions on just the assessment, but I want to get them thinking. So I think we're going to walk through the actual workbook and then be able to show them, here's what you're saying. Now we have some talking points to be able to address.
So the purpose of the workbook then is to highlight or discover issues that the owner has regarding his or her business for the most part.
Well, and really to help them identify what it is, not so much me,
right.
But I think they need to recognize what they're looking to do and where their threats are also. One thing I've noticed in the assessments that I do is business continuity is usually top on the list. And it's something that I don't think any of us as business owners really think about. It's like, what happens if I die or permanently disabled? I mean, I have to laugh. It's kind of, now that I'm going through this process and I'm doing it for myself, and I'm going, boy, I better get to work on my own business.
We can find you a good exit planner.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can.
That is great. So anything else that you'd like to talk about in terms of exit planning and your practice and where you're headed?
Yeah, I think I'm really excited about it because it's really where my natural niche is. It was funny, as I was kind of developing my practice, and I had a client to turn me onto a book, and I can't remember the author or the title of it, but it was about creating multi-generational wealth, and it was something that really intrigued me. And so that's kind of what as I was doing my rebrand to High Lift Financial to kind of identify with collision shop owners, I came up with this tagline, aligning family and businesses for generational wealth. And I actually went to a couple of my clients, and they were the ones that helped me this is what you do. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, and that's really, probably the core of my business is looking for those owners that want to create a family legacy, whether it's a inside transfer with family members, or if it's we sell the business, but then what do we do with this wealth to create a family legacy and helping that family to create a vision. So what I'm really excited about is that, through the BEI process, I now have a process to be able to do that. And I think more importantly that I have access to professionals in the areas of expertise that I don't have. I'm not an attorney. Okay, I'm not a CPA. I'm not a investment banker. I don't do those things. But what my real passion is being that quarterback and that point person, but then having access that I can bring in and get the right solution for the client.
And that's really a fundamental concept of our way of exit planning is that we want to position you as the head of the table and help you if help is needed to find the best professionals.
Right.
Because we've got the best professionals in the country in exit planning in various disciplines. So that's one avenue. The other avenue is to help our members reach out in the community to find the most experienced, best professionals.
Exactly.
And you build that team of advisors that, again, you're going to be at the head of the table.
Right. And that's kind of, as I'm building my team out, I'm looking at people that I locally that I work with to be able to engage and possibly maybe even bring them into BEI so they understand the planning process together, but then also having those experts. So if I find that maybe that local professional is not quite capable, I do have a trump card to fall back on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we have a tool in BEI called the Business Roundtable.
Yep.
And I think you're familiar with it.
Yes.
So that might be a tool that enables you to reach out in that community and discover the best professionals.
Yes, and I'm actually working that already.
Perfect.
Already, as I had before I came down for breakfast, I actually had a web conference with it's a husband-wife attorney team I've been working with. He's a business attorney. She's an estate planning attorney, and about being on the team because I felt it was a very natural fit because now I have people in the same office that have a synergy and they would know the situation on a much deeper level. So I invited them to be a part of the team, and eventually I'm going to talk to them about looking into BEI and maybe, becoming a member of that too.
Music to my ears.
I'm sure it is.
Well, Matt, thanks a lot. This has been very insightful, and he's has a great job of explaining about why we plan.
Hey, I really want to thank you for listening to the Your Business, Your Life podcast. If you want to be notified when new episodes become available, click the subscribe button below.
The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of High Lift Financial. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investment, legal, or tax advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified professional with any questions you may have regarding your business or personal planning. DeFrancesco Financial Concierge, LLC, DBA High Lift Financial, is a registered investment advisor. Registration with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission or any state security authority does not imply a certain level of skill or training.